History is a tapestry woven from countless threads of decisions, battles, and chance occurrences. Each thread represents a choice made, a path taken, or an event that unfolded, contributing to the intricate and complex fabric of our past. Each twist and turn shapes the course of events, leading to the world we know today. The pages of history books are filled with stories of triumph and tragedy, of empires rising and falling, and of pivotal moments that have defined civilizations. But what if, at a crucial juncture, the threads were pulled in a different direction? What if a single decision had been made differently, or a key event had taken an unexpected turn? The entire course of history could have been altered, leading to a world vastly different from the one we inhabit. What if a single battle had a different outcome, forever altering the flow of history? Imagine the ripple effects of such a change, affecting not just the immediate aftermath, but the entire trajectory of nations and peoples. Alternate history allows us to explore these tantalizing possibilities, offering a glimpse into worlds that might have been. It challenges us to think about the fragility of our reality and the myriad ways in which it could have diverged. In the annals of the 20th century, World War II stands as a colossal clash of ideologies, a global conflict that reshaped the geopolitical landscape. The war's outcome determined the balance of power for decades to come, influencing international relations, economic policies, and cultural exchanges. The Allied victory over the Axis powers, Nazi Germany, Imperial Japan, and Fascist Italy, is a story etched in our collective memory. It is a testament to the resilience and determination of the nations that stood against tyranny and oppression. But what if the scales had tipped in favor of the Axis? What if the strategies and decisions made during the war had led to a different outcome, one where the Axis powers emerged victorious? What if Japan, the empire of the rising sun, had emerged victorious from the ashes of World War II? How would this have reshaped the global order, and what would the world look like under Japanese dominance? This essay delves into the hypothetical scenario of a Japanese victory in World War II, exploring the potential global implications of such an outcome. By examining the strategic decisions, military campaigns, and political maneuvers, we can gain insights into the possible alternate realities. By examining key turning points, such as the Battle of Midway, we can begin to unravel the complexities of this alternate history. The Battle of Midway was a pivotal moment in the Pacific theater, and its outcome had far-reaching consequences for the course of the war. We will delve into Japan's ambitions for global domination, their alliances with Nazi Germany and Italy, and the potential ramifications for the world. Understanding these dynamics helps us appreciate the delicate balance of power and the interconnectedness of global events. Join us as we journey into this uncharted territory, exploring a past that never was, but one that holds valuable lessons for understanding the delicate balance of power and the enduring consequences of war. Through this exploration, we gain a deeper appreciation for the complexities of history and the profound impact of the choices made by those who came before us. The Battle of Midway, fought in June 1942, stands as a pivotal moment in the Pacific War. This battle was not just another clash between the naval forces of the United States and Japan. It was a confrontation that would determine the future trajectory of the war in the Pacific. The stakes were incredibly high, with both sides understanding that the outcome could alter the balance of power in the region. It marked a turning point, shifting the balance of naval power in favor of the United States and halting Japan's relentless advance across the Pacific. The American victory at Midway was a testament to the strategic brilliance of the U.S. Navy and the bravery of its sailors and pilots. It was a battle that showcased the importance of intelligence, as codebreakers played a crucial role in anticipating Japanese movements. But what if the outcome had been different? What if the tides of war had favored the Japanese fleet instead? This question opens a window into an alternate history, one where the consequences of a Japanese victory at Midway would have been far-reaching and profound. What if the Imperial Japanese Navy had emerged victorious from the swirling chaos of that fateful battle? The implications of such a victory would have been monumental, altering the course of the war and reshaping the geopolitical landscape of the Pacific. In our alternate timeline, the Japanese fleet, under the command of Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, successfully cripples the American carriers, delivering a devastating blow to U.S. naval power in the Pacific. This victory would have emboldened the Japanese forces, giving them the upper hand in subsequent battles and campaigns. The loss of Midway Island follows, providing Japan with a strategic outpost from which to project its power deeper into the Pacific. This outpost would have served as a critical base for launching further offensives, allowing Japan to extend its reach and influence over the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean. With the Pacific effectively under their control, Japan's military leaders are emboldened, their confidence in their ability to dictate terms in the Pacific unshaken. This newfound confidence would have likely led to more aggressive strategies and bolder moves, further consolidating their dominance in the region. The United States, reeling from the loss of its carriers and the strategic setback at Midway, is forced to adopt a defensive posture in the Pacific, its ability to challenge Japan's dominance severely weakened. The morale of the American forces would have been significantly impacted, and the path to recovery would have been long and arduous. The ramifications of a Japanese victory at Midway extend far beyond the immediate theater of war. Such a victory would have had a ripple effect, influencing the strategies and decisions of both the Allied and Axis powers in other theaters of the conflict. It would have had profound implications for the balance of power in the Pacific, solidifying Japan's control over vital shipping lanes and resource-rich territories. Control over these resources would have bolstered Japan's war effort, providing the necessary materials to sustain their military campaigns. The United States, its industrial heartland untouched but its navy crippled, would have faced a long and arduous struggle to regain its footing in the Pacific, its global influence significantly diminished. The road to recovery would have required immense effort, innovation, and resilience as America sought to rebuild its naval power and reassert its presence in the Pacific theater. Fueled by a potent mix of nationalism, militarism, and a belief in its own racial superiority, Imperial Japan embarked on a path of expansionism in the early 20th century. The conquest of Manchuria in 1931 marked the beginning of this aggressive expansion, followed by the invasion of China in 1937. Japan's wartime goals were far-reaching, encompassing nothing less than the establishment of a greater East Asia co-prosperity sphere under its dominion. In this alternate timeline, with the Pacific secure and the United States on the defensive, Japan's imperial ambitions are given free rein. Resources flow freely from conquered territories, fueling Japan's war machine and bolstering its position as the undisputed power in Asia. The co-prosperity sphere, a thinly veiled euphemism for Japanese hegemony, becomes a stark reality. Across the vast expanse of Asia, from the jungles of Southeast Asia to the bustling cities of China, Japanese rule tightens its grip. Governments are toppled and replaced with puppet regimes, their economies intertwined with Japan's, their resources siphoned off to fuel the empire's insatiable appetite for expansion. However, beneath the veneer of order and prosperity, resentment simmers. The people of occupied territories, subjected to harsh rule, economic exploitation, and cultural suppression, begin to resist. From the mountains of China to the rice paddies of Vietnam, resistance movements emerge, waging a relentless guerrilla war against their Japanese overlords. Japan's alliance with Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy, forged in the crucible of the 1930s, formed a formidable axis of power that threatened to reshape the global order. This alliance was not born out of mutual respect or shared values, but rather out of a convergence of interests. Each nation saw in the others a means to an end, a way to achieve their own ambitious goals. For Japan, it was an opportunity to expand its influence in the Pacific and East Asia, while Germany and Italy sought to dominate Europe and the Mediterranean. United by their shared ambitions for territorial expansion and their disdain for the existing international system, the Axis powers embarked on a campaign of conquest that plunged the world into chaos. Their military strategies were coordinated to maximize their combined strength, and their propaganda machines worked overtime to justify their actions to their respective populations. The world watched in horror as country after country fell under the Axis's relentless advance. However, beneath the surface of this seemingly unshakable alliance lay deep-seated tensions and ideological differences that threatened to undermine their unity. The leaders of these nations were often at odds, their meetings fraught with disagreements and conflicting priorities. While they presented a united front to the world, behind closed doors the cracks in their alliance were beginning to show. In this alternate history, with Japan ascendant in the Pacific and East Asia, the dynamics of the Axis alliance shift. Japan's military successes embolden its leaders, who begin to see themselves as the dominant force within the alliance. This newfound confidence leads to increased demands for resources, territory, and influence, putting additional strain on the already fragile relationship between the Axis powers. Japan, emboldened by its victories, becomes a more assertive partner, demanding a greater say in Axis strategy and a larger share of the spoils of war. This assertiveness is met with resistance from Germany and Italy, who are reluctant to cede any of their hard-won influence. The resulting power struggle further exacerbates the tensions within the alliance, making cooperation increasingly difficult. Germany, bogged down in a grueling war of attrition in Europe, is forced to acquiesce to some of Japan's demands, recognizing the importance of maintaining unity in the face of a common enemy. The German leadership, aware of the precariousness of their situation, makes concessions to keep Japan on their side. These concessions, however, come at a cost, as they further strain the already tenuous relationship between the Axis powers. Despite their shared goals, the ideological gulf between the Axis powers remains. Each nation harbors its own vision of the future, visions that are often incompatible with one another. The propaganda used to rally their populations often highlights these differences, even as it seeks to promote a sense of unity. The leaders of the Axis powers are acutely aware of these ideological divides, and they work tirelessly to manage them, but the task proves increasingly difficult. Japan's racially charged vision of an Asia dominated by the Japanese clashes with Germany's own racial theories and ambitions for expansion into Eurasia. These conflicting ideologies create a fundamental incompatibility that cannot be easily resolved. The leaders of the Axis powers attempt to downplay these differences in public, but in private, they are a constant source of friction. These ideological differences, initially papered over in the pursuit of common goals, threaten to resurface as the Axis powers consolidate their gains and their ambitions begin to overlap. The more successful they become, the more their individual goals come into conflict. The leaders of the Axis powers find themselves increasingly at odds, their meetings becoming battlegrounds for competing visions of the future. The uneasy alliance between these ideologically disparate nations, while formidable on paper, carries within it the seeds of its own destruction. The very factors that brought them together, their shared ambitions and disdain for the existing international order, also drive them apart. As the war drags on, the strains on their alliance become increasingly apparent, threatening to unravel the Axis from within. Differences in ideology, conflicting ambitions, and the inherent instability of any alliance built on expediency rather than shared values cast a long shadow over the Axis's dreams of global domination. The leaders of the Axis powers are acutely aware of these challenges, but their attempts to address them are often too little, too late. The alliance that once seemed so formidable is revealed to be a house of cards, vulnerable to the slightest breeze of discord.